Hello and a very warm welcome back to the channel.
Hello.
Now, following on from our last video where we cleaned the paths around the house.
Yeah, if you didn't actually see that video, it was just our last one, so just go back and watch that. You might find that interesting.
Yeah, and in that video we asked you if you'd like to see any more garden vids, and a lot of you said that you would. So we thought we'd start today just by really showing you around the garden, showing you what it looks like at the moment, and really just talking about our plans for the garden and what we want to do.
Yeah, not much work we've got to do with it. Yeah,
there's a lot.
Yeah, there's quite a bit. Yeah.
So we've got a lot of plans. We have lived here for 20 years and we've done a lot to it since we've been here, but we don't get a lot of time for gardening, so we really need to create a garden that's going to be easy to maintain.
Low maintenance, yeah, sort of low maintenance, but still look attractive, and we probably use a lot of pots, we're thinking, aren't we? Because it'd be easy to do pots, I think.
We both really love plants and flowering plants. We also want to create several wild areas in the garden because we love the wildlife, and I'm sure you've sort of seen some of our garden visitors on other videos. So yeah, we just really want to start by showing you around. I had actually said to Matt, I think we should give the garden a really good tidy up before we do this video, but Matt said
no point.
Show it as it is.
As it is,
and then
warts and all.
Yeah, and then you can see how the garden progresses as we go along. Okay, so let's go and have a look around. So what I thought we would do is start here at the back of the house, and then we'll work our way all around the borders, and then we'll show you the rest of the garden, and then Matt can show you his sort of workshop and shed area at the bottom of the garden and tell you about his plans for that. So this is an absolute mess, and I must say I'm a little bit embarrassed about the mess of this, and I had such big plans for this, being covered in beautiful pots with loads of lovely tulips and seasonal flowers and plants in them, but because I haven't really done anything with this all of this year, most of them have either gone to weed or they've got little weeds in them. There's a massive thistle in that one which needs to come out, and it all just looks a little bit messy. I also like the idea of having other sort of implements with plants in them, and there I've got a really old watering can. Now, we did plant quite a few bulbs in these pots, but the squirrels I think have had most of them over the sort of autumn and winter months. So as you can see, there's not a lot of bulbs left and a lot of weeds growing. We have got a really lovely sort of small rose in this one. I've got some pansies coming back in here. I'm not sure what these are, but I'm pretty sure they are actual plants, so I won't do anything with those. This down here is actually a salvia, and salvias propagate really easily, and sort of in my naivety I just sort of took really simple cuttings from the ones that we've got in the borders and just stuck them into the pot, and I've actually got now 2 or 3 salvias in the garden just from taking those cuttings. We get a lot of these muscari growing naturally in the garden. Really love those. They're just sort of on the going over now. So this lovely butler sink was actually in Matt's workshop, but not sort of serving as a sink because there was no water in there. So we actually removed it, and I did a lot of planting in here, and my idea was to plant a lot of blue things to sort of look like water as it's a sink. And I put a lot of muscari in, but most of them didn't flower, so I'm thinking I may have just over crammed it a little bit so they didn't really have room to breathe and grow. So I want to redo that and redo all of the pots on the potting table. So this is a small border at the back of the house, and for those of you that watch my other channel, Little Bits and Pieces by Julie, you'll know that that's my craft room window there, just to give you a bit of perspective. So along here, starting at that end, that's a lovely sedum there, and that gets lovely big pink flowers on it, and again that was another cutting that I took from one around the corner. Those, I think we call them snapdragons, but I'm not sure that that's the proper name for them. And then we've got this lovely big hydrangea here which will have lovely big beautiful pink flowers on it. the trouble with that is that the muntjac deer really do like hydrangeas, so quite often we see her creeping over here. And if you've ever sort of seen my videos where she's looking in my craft room window, that's why, because she's wondering if I'm watching her, trying to nibble on the hydrangea. So we try to keep enough food out for them so that they don't actually wander over to the plants. It's, you know, we're not going to be able to stop it completely, but we'll do our best. But we just love having the animals in the garden, so we'll perhaps, I don't know, we could perhaps put that in a pot next year and have that somewhere else. But we'll see how it goes this year. We've got a few bulbs left there, and then this lovely sort of purple shrub. Again, I can't remember what that's called, but that does really fill out nicely. And then coming around this corner, this is some rosemary. And again, my neighbour just gave me a couple of sprigs of that, and she said just stick it in the ground and that will grow into a really big bush. And at the time I didn't think so, but that was about a year ago, and this is growing really nicely now. And then we've got this lovely purple shrub again, which gets some really nice white flowers on it. I've got another one over there, and that was a cut-in from that, and that's growing really nicely as well. I can't remember what they're called, I'm afraid. I'm not very good on remembering the names. Okay, so we'll come in now then around the back border, and again that window there is my other craft room window. Again, just to give you a bit of perspective. And we've got a little bit more in here. Some of them I've planted, some are wild that just sort of seed themselves. And I've sort of just left everything there for now, although I think some of it is a little bit tall. That one at the back gets very tall and gets some really beautiful purple flowers on it, but I don't want it going over the window. It's starting to now, so I may just trim that back this year and then perhaps remove it next year. I don't want to move anything at the moment. I'm not sure if you're meant to move things at this time of year. I've got that lovely shrub there. And that was very small when I bought it about a year ago, so that's grown really nicely. And then my Asian bleeding heart there, and I know they're called different things in different places, and the flowers were looking really good last week, so they've just started dying off a little bit, but I think that may just need a bit of water. And then this is one of the salvias here, and this gets some really lovely peach coloured flowers on it. It's getting a little bit sort of woody, and I think it's probably too big for the border as well, so may have to try and remove that again at a later date, or maybe just sort of really trim it back quite harshly. There's the original sedum there, which I took a cut in from, and like I say, that gets those beautiful big pink flower heads on it, the size of saucers really, so that's a really nice one. I'm aware that there's a bit of shadow around here, I'm trying not to stand in it. A little pot I've got there, which I did have just some bedding plants in. Again, I can't remember the name now. If you see where that drain is, going straight across there at a diagonal is a pipe, so we can't actually plant anything in there. There's only about an inch of gravel on top of there, so that's why I put the pot there. But maybe we could get sort of 2 or 3 pots to stand there. I think that might look quite nice. And then we get a lot of valerian growing naturally in the garden, so that's one coming up there, and then we've got one opposite as well. Really like those, and we've seen the hummingbird moths feeding on those, which are really nice to watch. And as well, the aqualesia self-seeds quite nicely around the garden. I remember when we sort of first moved in, I originally thought they were weeds, and I pulled quite a few of them out. But obviously now that I know they are really beautiful flowers, I'll leave those growing. Another valerian there, and then it sort of really narrows off towards the end of the border. But I think I might be able to just put some more lavender in there and have that nice sort of drape over the path there. I'm just going to turn and go along the other fence. So I think in the last video, the path video, I showed you that lovely lavender, and again that propagates really easily. Just sort of take a cut an angle in it and stick it in a pot really. So we've got that all the way along there. Over here we get lots of snowdrops, a really nice sort of carpet of snowdrops come up there, but we'll try and put something else in there as well, and then they can just sort of work their way through. And then I've got more lavender over here at the end of the fence, and then it sort of just goes over along the side of the next door neighbour's garage. And then we've got that lovely jasmine bush and a really nice selection of mature trees there. A couple of blossom trees at the back which are in blossom now and look really lovely. And actually in that jasmine bush, which actually smells really lovely as well once all the flowers are out, is where the deer sit in the day. I don't think they're in there at the moment, we're probably making a bit too much noise for them. But we really love that bush, and that when we look back at old photographs of the garden, that used to be right back, sort of level with the conifers there, so that really has grown. But we really love that, and love the divide that it creates as well between this part of the garden and then the wild area at the back, which I'll show you later. Okay, so if you come with me around this corner, I just want to first of all show you this beautiful tree, and in full flower at the moment. And these flowers here I can always just see from the bedroom window, so it makes a really nice backdrop to the bedroom window to be able to see those beautiful pink flowers coming through. But again, just go along these borders with you. So there's a lot of weeds in here. We actually get a lot of sort of trees growing, you know, with really sort of spiky leaves. I'm not sure what they're called, but things like this. So that all needs to come out. But we get a lot of those self-seeding in the borders. Got another couple of aquilesias there and a valerian at the back there. These little bushes, I've sort of got 2 or 3 of these, but they grow very slowly, so that isn't much bigger now than it was when we first bought it, probably a couple of years ago. I really love the sort of silvery colour of the leaves and think they make a nice sort of contrast with, you know, brighter colours. A couple of really nice lupins here. You can see on that one the flower head is just starting to form. So I've got another one there. I think they're yellow if I remember correctly. We've got some hyacinths that have just gone over, so I'll need to remove those, ready to replant. Another salvia here, and again this is a lovely peach one, and then I've got a nice burgundy one around the front. Again, going a little bit woody. I did trim a lot of that off last year, really did cut it back. Quite a bit of bare area over here as well. Another of those, couple of those sort of silvery bushes there, and then this is a beautiful Rosa, congratulations, rose bush. When the roses come, they're a beautiful sort of pale pink colour. We've got quite a few buds forming, so that's going to look really lovely when they come out later in the year. We've got another pink hydrangea here. This, again, I can't remember what it's called, but that gets some really lovely yellow flowers on it. That, I think, is phlox, and that gets some lovely purple flowers. I love sort of purples and yellows together. This, again, I can't remember the name, but we get some nice yellow flowers on it, but it has got some weeds mixed in with it, so weeding the borders is going to be the next job before we then go along to the garden centre and get some more plants to put in. And then if we move along again, we've got another climbing rose here, and this is called Dublin Bay, and it gets these beautiful deep red roses on it. Again, looking quite healthy this year. We only deadheaded it back quite late in the year. We should have probably been doing that more constantly, but it has got some nice buds forming on it. And then if we come around the corner again...
Well, you have a little hydrangea up in your pot there, haven't you?
Oh yeah, walked past that one, but again that was from a cut-in, just from one pink hydrangea that we had. I really love the look of these pots, and this was actually just... what's it made of? Not, I want to say polyresin, but
it's just polyresin, yeah.
Yeah, it's not actually stone, but I love the look of those pots.
We got that from the local garden centre as well, didn't we?
So we'll be going along to the Bunkers Hill Garden Centre again soon, and we'll take you along there with us. So around this corner, got this hollyhock here. We both really love hollyhocks. I think this is in actually the wrong place. It grows very nicely, but I think it's a bit too big for the border. But again, we'll leave it there this year, just because I think it would damage it to remove it. Another valerian, and then I've got some delphiniums here that my sister gave me, and they're growing really nicely this year. The remnants of some more daffodil bulbs which need to come out. Another valerian, I'm not sure what that is. Horrible big thistle at the back. And then this is the lovely deep red salvia that I was telling you about, and again I've done some cut-ins from that. They grow really easily. Again, I think it's a bit too big for the border, but we will leave it there for this year, and may put it around the back near the fence where we've got lots of room to fill, and we can build like a nice big tall thick border. Two pots which I'm really embarrassed for you to see because again we've just let them run to weed.
They did have daffodils in there, didn't they, but they've sort of gone over now.
We did plant them up with all good intentions, but now they just look awful. I should probably just take those around the back until we've got something to go in them. And then coming along here, we've got this beautiful quince, and this has been here since the day we moved in, so it's more than 20 years old, and these are the flowers at its height, really, at its best. And they're just beautiful and look really nice against the colour of the stone as well. We have to trim this back quite a bit because it very easily grows over the window, and it probably needs sort of trimming along the front as well, just to keep the path clear. And then it's back around to the back garden. I'll just show you these three pots. Now that's another hydrangea in the centre there, again cutting taken from the pink one. We've had blue ones here before, but they've turned pink, so we obviously haven't got the right soil for the blue, although I would like to buy one and keep it in a pot. And then in these end two, we did actually have some really nice freesias. Now, one of the things I think I've learned since I've been enjoying gardening is just because it looks twiggy like this and really sort of stalky is not just to get rid of it, because I've left things like this before and they have then actually grown back and turned into really beautiful plants. So my initial thought would be, oh that's dead, that's gone, just get rid of it. But actually sometimes they do start growing again, or they're not actually dead. The leaves just start growing from the bottom, so all of this needs trimming off. So always probably just leave things for a while to see if anything does grow before you just get rid of something. And I'm sure I've destroyed like quite a few really nice plants that needn't have come out. So I'm just leaving that one there for now, and we'll see what happens. But again, these are really nice actual terracotta pots which we love. So if nothing happens with this, then I want to get some really nice brightly coloured plants in these, because we can see these from the kitchen window if we peer out, and they're the first thing you see when you come around into the back garden.
So Julie's handed the reins over to me to show you around the rest of the garden. So you may have seen this area earlier, a little coffee house. I made this in 2022, actually. It's got a little name, date badge on there at the top. And what we're thinking of doing is moving that over to the left here, into this gap here. We're going to trim this leylandii back, because the leylandis were basically like that all over this section of the garden. So we're going to trim them back to give us a bit more space, and then we'll put a coffee house there, and then we're thinking of building a seating area, coffee area,
like a sort of built-in patio area, really.
Area, basically. And we're going to use all reclaimed flags like this. There's quite a few of these dotted around the property, mostly on my driveway, so I'm going to take them up and then put them around here, and then just lay them out here, put some sand underneath first, and then we're going to put maybe some gravel around and some pots and some lavender and things like that. There's a little Buddha.
He's looking after our little pet graveyard over there.
Yeah, little kitty cats.
Our beautiful little kiddies who we think about every day.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the plan for this area. We may even build a gazebo or pergola in this area here, put some lights around it.
Yeah, really, it's a really nice place to sit in the early evening, isn't it?
The sun comes over this way, it's beautiful. You're
Yeah.
sitting there and having a cup of coffee in the morning or in the evening. So in the morning sun you get over there, in the evening sun you get over there. So it's quite a lovely place to sit. And then over here we have our primrose garden.
Or one of our wild areas,
Yeah,
really,
this is
isn't it?
basically where all primroses grow. So basically they're all going over now, and this is due to just a flood. Primroses.
I think I've got a photo of when they were
Yeah.
out, so I'll flash that up if I can find it.
And over here is our main wild garden. This is under the shade of the really old Bramley apple tree. It's ancient, this tree. It's really, really old. It's probably as old as the house. No, it won't be as old as the house, will it?
I'm not sure. No, because the house is 250 years old.
Yeah. So, but it's really old.
Really old.
Needs a little bit of trimming and some pollarding to be done. 'Cause it's starting to get a little bit top heavy on one side. But the bottom bit here, we've got some lovely little bluebells coming through. We want to put some, is it creeping thyme, isn't it?
Yeah, you like the look of that, don't you?
Because you can do, it'll make like a lawn, which you don't have to cut. The deer don't eat it because they don't like the smell, and you can get really nice purple colour, and it spreads really quite nice. I think it'd be quite nice covering all that, and hopefully cover some of the manholes. We'll put some pots on there as well, can't we?
We've put a couple of old garden chairs out there. Just thought they looked quite nice in the shadow.
Well, we have got to fix the fence over there as well, haven't we? So we've got to get a new
that's
fence put
fallen
on.
back, so that's another job to do.
That's the ivy's taken that back, but we'll get that sorted.
So your workshop area, that's the carriage, the workshop, and then we've got this old metal shed here, which really we use for storage, don't we?
Yeah, keep the lawnmower and things like that in there, don't we?
And the bins all look a little bit messy, but then you've got plans for those, haven't you?
Yeah. It's this whole area here, which at the moment looks awful. So the intention is to clear as much of this area as possible, pull all the old tree roots out and the old tree, I think these are actual ivy tree stumps, yeah, so they're going to have to come out. Then I'm going to build like a bin shed, probably against this wall here. Just raise this up, or push a lot of the dirt across so this is raised up, and then build a bin shed here. And then we want to turn this into like a little car parking area, don't we, so we can bring the cars around the back of the driveway onto here. But this is a big plan, this is going to be a massive job.
Yeah. We've got a tree there that is really drooping, so we may have to have that taken out.
Yeah, it's sort of leaning over, isn't it?
We've sort of tried to put it off, but it is leaning more and more, and obviously if that came down that would damage the shed and the workshop, so we don't want that to happen. But obviously we'll have to speak to a tree surgeon and see when would be the best time to do that. But yeah, it's a real mess at the back there, and then that sort of bit beyond that mess there is ours, and then it goes into the woods at the back.
Because the deer come through here, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to keep it open at the back here with a fence that the deer can get through, but still enclose it in so it's a little bit more private at the back of here as well. But it's just an absolute mess here. It's all going to be sorted.
We've got two of these old galvanised bins that were here when we came. That's where we started sort of doing like a compost bin, didn't we? But then stopped, so it's...
Wheel move, I've got it's another hydrangea growing in it, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a hydrangea in there, and that was actually a blue one, so I'm not sure what colour that will come back. And then down there I said about putting plants in different sort of containers, so I've got an old fire grate there, and I was thinking of doing a display of lovely sort of tall orange flowers, orange and yellow, to look like flames. And then this area here, we've got these two beautiful cherry trees. We want to plant something along the back there. We were thinking of rhododendrons because they grow quite nicely down in the woods, which is sort of the same conditions, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sort of quite dark and damp. So hopefully they'll take. And then this is the back of that lovely sort of little cluster of trees, which we really like as well. We've sort of kept that as a little walk through bit, that central little area there, which we really love. And then that's where the deer sit in there. And there is actually a little fence hidden in there as well, so I think they feel quite secure in there. Oh, hello. There's someone on its back. So just a couple of things that I think I missed there. Also, under this tree, it's a big sort of plan of ours to have lots of bulbs planted under there, so we get that lovely sort of burst of colour early spring. So later in the year we'll hopefully be able to get lots of daffodils in there. But this is also an area that we want to keep wild. And if you can see that little path running through there, that is actually where the muntjac deer hop out down the wall and then into the other field at the back of the house there. So if we do put some sort of bamboo fence along there to block that area a bit more, we would leave a little hole in it so that the deer can still come and go freely. And then I just wanted to show you the direction of the house. So this corner here is directly due north. So the other corner is directly east. So that front fascia of the house is northeast. So we do find it quite difficult to find plants that grow in a sort of shady area that only gets a little bit of sun first thing in the morning. So if you're a gardener and you know about these things, then if you could tell us the names of any sort of flowering plants that would grow in that condition, so northeast facing wall with only a little bit of sun in the morning, then we would really appreciate it. Okay, so that's it for today, and I really hope you've enjoyed this look around our garden. Now, I said there earlier about if you know of any plants that would grow in that northeast facing area, then do let us know. But obviously let us know about any plants you think would work in any of the borders. That back border gets a lot of sun, and for most of the day as well, so we need plants that really do love the sun. And just anything that you think might look nice. We love purples, yellows, well, all sort of colours really, but things that you think go well together, things that are sort of easy to maintain. We love shrubs and things like that as well to really, you know, make the other colours pop. So we really want some
things that are
advice, don't we?
Hardy as well, so they
Yeah.
can put up with a little bit of abuse when we do forget to water them and things. Yeah.
Or we don't want to have to do a lot of weeding, so we
ground
really
coverage,
want something that covers the ground quite a lot, really nice big bushy plants to fill the areas out. So our next video then will be a trip to the garden centre, but obviously what we're going to do first is really tidy up the areas that we've shown you, and then we'll go along to the garden centre and treat ourselves to some more plants. But for today, that's it. So thank you again for being with us, and we'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye.